are back today in Casey's kitchen here at Boots and Bounty Homestead, and I am going to bring you a basic pickled okra recipe. So I had a family friend gracious enough to let us come pick a ton of their okra, and ours is still blooming. It hasn't started coming in yet, so we're a little late to the game. But anyways, if you've got a lot of okra, this is an easy way to use up the okra and preserve them for later. So we're going to do pickled okra, and a lot of people complained about okra being slimy. Now, I'm just going to show you how to prepare these little baby okras for the pickling process where it's not going to end up being slimy. And I'll give you a little secret on how to keep it from getting slimy. But anyways, we're going to get started. I've got a ton of the little baby ones in the sink. Now I'm doing pint jars, so I'm doing like pint size and smaller, probably 4 inches or so, just however deep the jar is. I'm doing okra that long and shorter, so that way I can pack them very well and get them all in there and not let any of them go to waste. And then the bigger ones I'll be eating in different recipes as well that I'll be bringing you guys soon. Anyways, we're going to move over here to the sink and get these washed and cleaned up, and I'll show you how to prepare them to get ready for the pickling process. So here in the sink, you see we have a bunch of the little okra, the little bitty ones, and I need to cap these. We need to take the caps off of them, or remove the stem part of the cap. We're not taking the caps off. Let me rephrase that. Let me show you what I mean. So whenever you pick okra, some of this extra stem comes off with it right here, and what we're going to do is we're going to cut right above where it starts to turn and go up from the cap. So you'll see it goes up, and then it starts to curve right here. It changes colors. We are going to cap that right there, and this is going to allow the top to stay closed. Okay, if this comes off, if you cut it off down here underneath the top here, that's where the mucilaginous comes from the inside and makes it slimy. Okay, so do not cut any part of this. If you accidentally puncture one, or one has a mark on it where it's open, it will make it slimy. So we're just going to cut the tops off like this. And that is all we're going to do, besides, of course, washing them off. So I'm going to go through now and get these all capped and ready to go in the jars. Alright, so now that we've got all the okra washed off that I am going to pickle, we need to go ahead and get our jars out and ready, and then we need to make the brine. So stick around, I'll show you how to do that. So moving over to the stove, we got to get the brine going. This is going to consist of water, vinegar, pickling salt, and dill seeds. Now from the ball canning book, this is the ball canning book. And here we use 3 cups of water, 3 cups of vinegar, 1/3 cup of pickling salt, and 2 teaspoons of dill seed. So we need to mix that together first and bring it to a boil. Now, I've got more okra that I'm going to be getting, and I've got my own that's going to start coming in. So I'm actually going to double this, because you can put this like in a half-gallon jar or something and keep it in the refrigerator, and then just get it out and reheat it. So I'm gonna go ahead and double this, and I'll tell you what I'm putting in with the one recipe, and then what I'm putting in for the double batch. So we're gonna start with the 3 cups of water. I'm gonna put in 6. That's 6 cups of water, and I'm gonna go ahead and turn this on so we can start thinking about boiling. You can start warming up. 3 cups of vinegar. I'm going to use 6. And it'll probably be the rest of what I got, so that'll work out great. Almost. Got a couple of cups left. Alright, here is 6 cups of vinegar. One batch will be 3 cups. And then the pickling salt calls for 1/3 cup. So I'm just going to put 2. The whole dill seed. It says 2 teaspoons, so I'm going to put 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, if you don't want the dill seed to go into your pickling jars whenever you pour this into your jars with your okra, you can put this in one of the little tea strainers. Let me see if I can find one. Here it is. These little tea strainers right here, they have the little holes in them, and you can open them up and put like loose leaf tea in it, or herbs, or whatever. But you can also put your pickling spices in here and close them up, and then all you got to do is just toss it in the water, and then just make sure that you get it out before you, or just leave it in there until you're done. But you're not going to put this inside of anything. You're going to take it out whenever it's done. Here we've got our brine. We've got to bring it to a boil over medium heat, and we're going to stir it up in just a second, get the salt dissolving and everything. In the meantime, we've got to get jars ready. The okras are ready, processed and ready to be put in the jars, but we need to go ahead and get them in the jars. So let me go get jars, get them cleaned, and then we'll pack them. Alright guys, we've got them all packed up. I ended up getting 9 quarts. And if you could tell, I put in the cap side first. And then I kind of crisscrossed them, if you can see there. So I've got caps on top and caps on bottom. So that way it fills in all the center. That way you can get more in there. Don't pack them so tight though that the brine won't get in the middle of them. Or, you know, that you can't easily get them in and out. Now, some of them that were curved, like this first one, I laid some of them on there because there were a lot of little bitty short ones, and I had some dead space on top. So I laid a lot of the little curvy ones on there. That way that filled in that space. Okay, now my brine is boiling, I do believe. Let's go check on it. So our brine now, I do believe, is hot enough. Let's go ahead and cut this off. Let it cool off just a little bit. Because remember, we have cool jars and this is hot liquid, so we've got to be very careful not to bust them. And what you can do is get like this bowl right here of, you can put hot water in it and then let your jars sit in it to warm them up. Just the glass part, just set them down in it. and just warm them up before you pour this in there. So that way it just warms that glass up. Okay, so we've got this off, got it stirred up. Now we need garlic, and this calls for hot red peppers. I'm not doing red peppers because we don't like anything hot. So what I'm doing is I'm going to put a teaspoon of minced garlic in each of the jars over there. Then we can top with the brine. Alright, so we'll let this cool off just a little bit. Let's go ahead and do the garlic. Now if you have whole cloves of garlic, put one each in the jars. I'm not, so I'm just going to put about just a little teaspoonful here of garlic in the top of each of them. Now, if you've never put garlic in anything when you can, let me go ahead and forewarn you, it will change colors. It'll be purple or green or blue. Some people say red. It all depends on what kind of garlic you have. But don't fret if you see your garlic and it's done turned a funky color. It's just part of the process. I'll put a little bit more in this one. Okay? And this one. Now, got our garlic in. So let's go ahead and get us some hot water and warm the bottom of our jars up. So let me show you here what I mean. And this is just a jar we just packed. And I'm going to put it down in here. Now don't make sure it doesn't flip over. And you see I didn't put but just a couple of inches of water in there, because we don't want it to flip over or anything. We'll let this sit in here for just a few seconds and get warm. And this is hot tap water. Whenever you take it out, you can feel the jar. It's warm. So as long as it's not cold, it'll be okay. You can take your jar out. And you can put the next one in if you want to go ahead and be getting warm. And now we are going to put our brine in. And you can use a funnel for this if you would like. And we'll fill it up to a 1/2 inch headspace. You want to get almost all of the okra covered though. Okay. Debubble. And now what I mean by that is I just kind of turn it, twist it just a little bit. Now they do have the debubbling tools that you can poke down in there, or like a chopstick or a butter knife. You can use any of that. But that's just to get all of the air out, because once the air comes up, your water level goes down. Mine did just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit more. Keep it about a 1/2 inch headspace, which is halfway up between the bottom rim and the top rim. And it's about halfway up. And then our clean lids and rings, go ahead, put those on finger tight. And if you haven't already, this is a water bathing recipe, so go ahead and get your water bath canner with water, start to boil, so you can go ahead and start putting your jars in. So I've got my great aunt's water bather here, and got her old rack in here. I know it looks all kind of rough, but that's okay. So we need to go ahead now with this one. You can set this up on top, on the edge, and we're going to go ahead and put our jars in here. Level it up. Yep, that's what I thought. I got one left. Let's see. You know what? I'm going to put a pressure canner bottom in here, and I think I'll be able to get all of them in here. Alright, so we just gotta make sure we've got something in here that's gonna hold it up off the bottom. Now let's see what we can do. Yep. And one. Ta-da! So take the middle out so it doesn't splash on you. So we've got to cover these about 1 inch. Now we need to cover this and bring it to a boil. Alright, so here's our cover. There's a dent right here, and I try to line the dent up with the dent in the pan. Here's our cover. We've got to let it come to a boil, and once it comes to a boil, of course, it will steam out a little bit. I don't like to completely cover it because then it'll boil over. So if you bend it just a little bit, bring it to a boil, and then turn it down to simmer to make sure you keep a rolling boil for 15 minutes. Okay, so we've water bathed for 15 minutes. And as you can see back here, I put the extra brine in a jar. And so whenever I have some more okra, I can go ahead and use this. And just reheat this back up and then just add a little bit to it if I need to. So, we've got this water bath for 15 minutes. And so now I'm just going to set the jars out over here in the side. And then they can cool off and can. Let's see, we have plenty of room. They kind of floated a little bit. We have plenty of room. Once they seal, you can go ahead and shake them up a little bit. I'm just doing side to side. But once they seal, you can turn them upside down. You don't want to turn it upside down right now because the pressure change from the top to bottom can confuse the pressure in it and make it think that it needs to seal. And it can cause a false seal. That's why you want to shake it side to side right now. You can tilt it a little bit, but don't turn it upside down. Because once you turn it upside down and then lift it right back up, that water falling down can pull that seal down. We don't want that. Okay, so here's our 9 jars. And I'm going to cover these lightly, just to kind of keep the heat in, because you don't want to cool them off too fast. So we just cover these lightly and leave a little air space in between them so they can cool off evenly around it. And then that is it. So there you have it, guys, an easy recipe for pickled okra. And this is the okra I make every year. You can make it hot, you can add sugar if you want to, make them sweet, whatever tickles your fancy. But this is the basic ball canning recipe without the hot pepper flakes that I make every year, and everyone loves them. And don't forget, your garlic may change colors on you, so don't freak out about it. And tell people, if you give it to somebody else, that it does it during the canning process. So let me know if you ever do any refrigerator pickles, or if you ferment your okra to make pickles or anything like that. Let me know what you do in the description below in the comment section, and we will see you guys later. Bye.